Okay, I'm just going to talk through a few of the questions on sequences for you. So it asks for the term-to-term rule. Each of these numbers are called terms because sequences sometimes have letters in them as well. So we call the individual numbers or letters in the sequence terms. So the term-to-term rule simply means what do you have to do to one number to get to the next one. Okay, so I mean you could start by saying, well, are we adding? 4 plus 8 is 12, but 12 plus 8 is not 36, so it can't be adding. So it's not subtracting because it's getting larger. So we could try multiplying. So you think, well, what do we have to multiply 4 by to get to 12? So the way to figure that out is to do the inverse, to go backwards. So to work out what you multiply 4 by to get to 12, you do 12 divided by 4. It's the opposite of multiplication, and we know that 12 divided by 4 is 3, so 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. And at this point you might want to get your calculator out because the multiplication sums are going to get a bit more difficult. So if you multiply by 3, you get from 4 to 12. If you multiply 3 by 12, you get 36. If you multiply 36 by 3, you get 108. If you multiply 108 by 3, and you probably need to check this on your calculator, you get 324. So the term-to-term rule for this sequence is going to be to multiply by 3. Okay. Again, this time our sequence is getting smaller. So it's not going to be adding unless it was a negative. So we could say, well, is it subtracting? 8 take away 4 gives us 4. So 8 take away 4 is 4. But 16 take away 4 is an 8. So it can't be subtracting. Okay. So let's try dividing. So if we start with the easier numbers, to get from 8 to 4, we divide by 2. To get from 16 to 8, we also divide by 2. Again, then you might want to use your calculator to check this. To get from 32 to 16, yes, we divide by 2. So it looks as though the term-to-term rule for this sequence is to divide by 2. The other thing that you could do is to multiply by something. And I remember we did this in class with 9B3. Dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by a half. And we can write half as 0.5. So you could multiply by a half to get from 64 to 32. Multiply by a half to get from 32 to 16. It's exactly the same as dividing by 2. Okay, so either of those answers should be correct. Okay. So in this case, the rule of a sequence is to divide by 2. Okay, so we're only given the third term in the sequence. Okay, so we could work out the next one easily enough. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. But we need to then work out backwards to get what this one is. So this number divided by 2 is 3. So what number divided by 2 gives you 3? Well, 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. Okay, so this number here would be a 6. The previous number divided by 2 gives you 6. So this number must be whatever double 6 is. Okay, so you're working backwards. And if you think the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So if you want to find out the numbers that come before, you do the opposite to dividing by 2, which is to multiply by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 will give you this answer here. Okay. This is a more difficult sequence. I'm going to come back to this one. In this one, we've got a set of cubes. Okay, and if we add them up, we can work out how many are in each sequence. So there's 3, and in this one there's 6, and in this one there's 4, 3, 7, 9, 10. So it's going 3, 6, 10. Okay, so we can see that they're adding a row each time. So this one has 2 on the bottom, this one has 3 on the bottom, this one has 4 on the bottom. So the next one's going to have another row of 5, so it's going to go up by 5. And the one after that's going to have another row of 6. Unfortunately, I can't draw it on here, but you're going to be adding a new row on the base every time. Okay, so after he's made 4, which if we think about the next one with having 4, this one has 10, and P4 is going to have 5 more than 10, so P4 is going to have 15. Okay, then we get to P5. Okay, and we're going to have 15 cubes in P4, so we'd have to add on another 6, which is 21. Okay, and he only has 12. So if he needs 21 and he only has 12, we need to work out how many more he would need to make P5. Okay, to work out P10, you simply need to keep going. So piece of paper and a pen, work out how many more you'll have for P4, how many more for P5, remembering that you're adding a new base each time, which is going to be 1 more cube than the previous base. Okay. Okay, Fibonacci, we're just adding up the numbers. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, and again, piece of paper and a pen, you need to write down to work out what the 7th and the 9th will be. Okay, similar with question 7. Okay, so this one's a little bit more tricky because this is going to take us into the negative numbers. Okay, so you're starting with 13. Take away 5 gives you 8. Okay, so that's the first 2 terms. The first term is 13. You might want to write down what I'm saying because unfortunately I can't show it on here. Or can I? Maybe I can do it in here just to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so the first term is 13. Then I'm going to take away 5 from 13, which would give me 8. Okay, I've got 2 terms now. Then I'm going to take away 5 from 8, which is going to give me 3. Okay, and then I've got another term now to work out, the 4th term. So if I take away 5 from 3, I'm going to get a negative number. So imagine the temperature is 3 degrees and it falls by 5 degrees. Okay, where would it end up? So if you're on 3, if you took away 3, you're on 0. You need to take away another 2 from 0, so you would end up on minus 2. So the 4th term will be minus 2. Okay, so the next question is also involves some negatives on part B. Okay, finding the term-to-term rules is, well, sometimes it's adding, sometimes it's taking away, subtracting, and you do need to use the word subtract rather than take away. Sometimes it's multiply, sometimes it's divide. Okay, so you need to go through them. This one is going down, so it's either going to be subtracting or dividing because it's getting smaller. So you could start by saying, okay, well 28 take away 25 is 3, so it could be subtract 3, and then you need to check that works to make sure that that is true for all the numbers in the sequence. Okay. So hopefully this has been helpful and should get you, up to the first 10 questions and perhaps beyond once you get the hang of it. Okay, thank you for watching.